This video is going to cover why your Facebook ads stop working, why they stop scaling, and why when you always get to a certain point or after a certain amount of time, they suddenly get more expensive or you suddenly can't scale any further. Look, at Hyros, I see all the data coming in through all sorts of businesses, through their ads and whatnot. And while I will never share any of that, I can show you most of the time why ads are not growing. More importantly, I can identify from my own experience of growing multiple businesses past 8 figures with ads, working with businesses doing that. There's usually about 4 things that happen that are the reason why ads stop scaling. And it has nothing to do with the ad targeting. It has nothing to do with the ad copy. It has nothing to do even with the funnel. It has an understanding of how the ads are working with the audiences on Facebook. And if you understand this, well, this is how you take your ads from struggling to pass $2,000 a day in ad spend to going well past $5,000, $10,000 a day. This works also on Google. This works on Facebook. This works on Pinterest ads. It doesn't matter. It's the same concept across all of them. And that's what I'm going to show you today from my personal experience and from all my experience with working with so many different clients and tracking at Hyros. Now, you're probably wondering, Alex, why are you telling me this? Why are you giving me all this ad information? It's simple. I want you to scale your ads because when you scale your ads up and make more money, you're going to need to track it to keep scaling further. And when you get to that point, you're probably going to think, that CEO at Hyros, he helped me out. Maybe I'll track my ads with Hyros because that will help me make a lot more revenue and save a ton of money so I can scale more efficiently. That's all. So I want you to get to that point. So maybe you'll track with us. That being said, let's hop into it. I want to show you these 4 things because if you can just nail these down, this is going to reverse the whole entire Rubik's Cube puzzle that is Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and allow you to scale, well, infinitely higher. Okay, guys, so unlike our other trainings, which you can also see all over the channel, like last week I showed a bunch of different hacks that will just immediately increase your Facebook ad ROI, and even on YouTube as well. A lot of those trainings were in the ad manager. We're getting pretty in depth. Today is more about an understanding of what's going on with targeting. See, what most people do when they're trying to scale their ads is they think the secret to why their ads are not making money is the targeting, and this is just the furthest thing from the truth. Targeting is the easy part of ads. If your ads are not working, it's not because you're not using targeting right, it's because you're not understanding how the targeting works and what you should be selling to specific targetings, and at scale, how you should be selling to large groups of people or smaller groups of people or certain markets. It's a complete misunderstanding of market size and what the market should be being sold. That's usually why people's ads die. For example, inside of my YouTube and Facebook ad consulting program, Iron, I'm constantly sharing all my split tests, my exact targeting, my funnels, everything that's been working for my business. And I'm not trying to push this to you here. What I'm trying to tell you is that when I see people come in the program and triple, 4x their businesses, 5x their businesses, and again, this is people that are actual business owners. They're actually running ads. These are not beginners coming in and blowing up a business. I want to be very clear there. But when people come in there, it's almost never targeting. I give people my exact targeting, which isn't that complicated. And their business takes off and grows not because of the ad targeting. It grows because they position the right offer to the right market and the right broadness of targeting. So targeting is never going to be your solution. That is something that ad gurus are going to tell you because they want you to think it's some complicated solution you'll never understand. It's never the targeting. I've scaled my ads to $25,000 a day on YouTube. I've scaled to $15,000 a day on Facebook, and it's been done using the most simplest targeting, lookalike audiences on Facebook. The word money, literally the word money on YouTube worked exceptionally well for me. A chimpanzee can do that level of targeting. What a chimpanzee cannot do is what I'm about to show you right here. See, whenever you're selling to a marketplace, there's 4 different levels in the marketplace, especially when it comes to B2B, which is what most people watching this channel sell. This applies to e-commerce, applies to anything. So let's imagine this marketplace right here is 10,000 people, and we're selling real estate coaching. We're showing people how to make money in real estate. Okay. Just an easy niche for me to explain it in. I actively don't do this niche or anything like that, but it's the same across every niche out there. So you have to understand that the first layer of this audience is a very, very small layer of people that are actually making money and are actively participating in real estate and making anywhere from 50 to anywhere, actually any amount of money in real estate. Okay. Out of all the people inside this entire marketplace, there's probably about 200 of these people of this 10,000. Next, the next layer of people is people that actively want to start doing real estate. They might be making a little bit of money, but not 50,000. They're just sort of getting into it, and they've chosen, like, I want to do real estate. I want to do real estate marketing. This would only be maybe another 500 people. And so if we're looking at the true B2B potential of this marketplace right here, it's extremely small. And I'll get into why this is important here in a second. But if we look at the rest of the marketplace, the next audience size right here is people that just want to start a business. They're committed to actually going and becoming entrepreneurs and making their own business. And so this might be another 2,000 people in the marketplace. And then the final rest of the marketplace right here, the about I don't know, 7,000, the rest of them are people that just simply want more money. These are people that want more money. And so what happens, here's where most people get crushed, and this applies to any business that's out there. If you don't get this gap, this is why you get messed up, is people try and take this offer right here and sell it to these people right here. When you're trying to scale up and go broad, you're going to quickly get into this area. Because if you're spending $10,000 a day, there is not enough people who are actively making money in real estate for $10,000 a day in ad spend to be deployed. It's just not. You're going to have to separate it across many different platforms and many different promotional methods. And so this doesn't work right here. And this is why most people ads die, because they go and take this offer right here. They position it pretty cheaply at like $1,000 to $2,000, and then they try and scale it and sell it to a mass market. That doesn't work. Or what they try and do is they try and take a mass market product about making more money in real estate in general and sell it to a person that is already making substantial money in real estate. They don't want to buy that. They want to buy the next thing up. And so what happens is people either try and take a $1,000 to $2,000 offer that's designed for this marketplace and bring it to these people. Well, there's not enough people in this marketplace right here to support that. If I sold, you would run out of all 200 of these people very quickly, and the same thing happens on Facebook and YouTube ads. On the flip side, you can't take this offer right here, which is $10,000, and sell it to this marketplace right here. And on the flip side, this offer right here, which would be, if we were making an offer specifically for these people, it'd be how to grow your real estate business that you're already making money in, won't work in this marketplace right here. And this is where most people's ads die, because they try and take this offer to this marketplace to this marketplace. It doesn't work like that. You need to say, who am I targeting? Am I targeting B2B, which is people that are actively involved in something, or am I targeting people with more base needs? Am I targeting the mass market? And you need to understand that that's who you're selling to, and you're not selling to anybody else. This is the number one reason why ads die. Because what happens when you first start up your ads are very micro-targeted. And this works great if you're in B2B where there's a micro audience. For example, people that actually actively own a dental office. But the problem is with micro-targeting, there's not enough traffic to actively support massive scale. So you have to sell very expensive offers. An offer that's $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, because then you can scale that. You either have to have a really deep back end or a very expensive offer. This is where most people make a lot of money doing this, because if you understand the audience is small, you can stick to micro-targeting, and you don't have to scale very far to make a lot of money. As soon as you start scaling out on Facebook, as soon as you start getting past $1,000, $2,000 per day, you start branching off into a very broad audience of people. These are people with very base, simple needs. And you need to understand that a lot of people will try and take a middle ground offer that plays to both audiences at the same time and scale that, and it won't work because the middle ground offer is not expensive enough to be supported by the micro audiences, but it's also not positioned well enough to work with the base audiences. For example, the base audiences don't want a real estate course. They want a way to make money quickly without effort. And this applies to anything, weight loss, home improvement, whatever. Okay? You get from people that just want a push-button solution and need to be convinced to get started on a path, whereas you have people that are already far down the path. You need to sell them completely different things at completely different price points. And so what happens right here is when people go and they usually start with their base offers, they sell a $1,000 to $2,000 offer that works at these micro audiences, but it won't scale because they can't make enough money at the micro audiences, and so they try and scale it large. They try and scale it to a mass audience, and it doesn't work because the mass audience doesn't want to buy that. And then the micro audience also doesn't want to buy it either, so they end up in this weird limbo where their ads don't make an ROI. And so that's the first thing you need to understand. Who am I going to sell to? And what is my scale going to look like? For example, at Hyros, our ads are extremely profitable, but we don't scale very far because we target ad runners. That's a very small audience. Sometimes the audience and marketplace you're selling to isn't that large. And so you need to focus on instead making excellent offers that you can charge extremely high prices for. And so that's the biggest mistake I see, number one. But the next thing I also see is not understanding how your competitors' backends work. So with a lot of times with your ads, let's say you're running a funnel that requires you to pay $10 for a person to come in. Well, as you scale up, the increase or because of the broadness of your targeting, the amount you're going to have to pay is going to increase. You're going to get from $10 to $15 to $20. Eventually, that's going to become too much for you. And the reason why is because the person that's making this get up to $20, like somebody's willing to pay that amount for the lead, is probably one of your competitors that has a super deep backend. So for example, at a time in my consulting group, Iron, what I'll see all the time is I'm going to see people, they start seeing their CPL going up, their cost to get a lead in, And then they just can't do it anymore. And they're like, how do I make this work? And their funnel and everything is optimized. They've copied everything I've done. We've shared. We've gone into everything they're doing. It's just not going to happen. So the way that they actually make this work is you need to go and say, okay, cool. I got a $2,000 offer right here. We need to have a deeper back end. Because, for example, if you look at any of the largest businesses in any space, you look at the real estate coaching space, you look in the e-commerce space, you look in weight loss space, doesn't matter. The largest businesses usually don't make money on their front end. They usually lose money getting a customer in the door. For example, I was looking at a huge self-help guru, and he spends about 3 months of what a customer spends to get them in the door. So that means if a customer on average, when they opt in, spends $30 with them over 3 months, that's how much he spends. So he loses $30 up front. So what you need to understand is that when you're doing this, the number one way to make sure your ads actually scale further is you need to find a way to make it so that if you are getting a lead in and you used to be able to only pay $10 per lead, you need to make it so you can pay $30 per lead. That's how you scale. You don't focus on the targeting. And I know this chicken scratch looks nuts, but you don't focus on the targeting. You can only do so well with the targeting. And once you understand that concept I showed you before, your targeting is going to be pretty simple and good to go. What you want to do is you need to make sure that you can afford to pay more per lead. And that's by getting people to spend more over a month, 2 months, 5 months, 10 months. And the only way you can do that is you actively have to track it, which just allows me to segment into the next thing. You need to know just straight up, if I go look at some of our high-risk tracking results right here and I look at last click, you're going to consistently see when you just use ad manager tracking, you're not going to get the accurate data that's coming in. You need to be using print tracking. There's just not enough there's not enough touch points for them to actively track anything to the point you need to once you're at scale. You can see right here, for example, we only had 7 calls. Well, it reported 11 calls, and there was actually no sales from this. And you can see right here, it reported 1 call when there was actually 2 calls, and there was actually a massive amount of profit from this. And so I'm going to scale around these things. You can even see right here, it reported 6 calls when there was 3, it reported 8 calls when there was 5. And I can go into my backend in Hyros, and I can look at the sources for every single one of my calls. None of my calls are not getting attributed. Okay? And this is chronic when you have multiple traffic sources. This is chronic when you have organic traffic. This is chronic when you're doing social media. Every single one of my calls right here is being attributed. There's not some bogus calls that are being tracked by Facebook and then not being tracked by us. We literally have the exact Calendly call sheet plugged into here. And so you need to know the true source of where your calls are coming from. You need to know the true source of where your leads are coming from, and you need to know the true source of where your sales are coming from. This applies to e-commerce, webinars, and whatnot. And again, I'm just showing you very quickly over my shoulder. My job is not to push Hyros on you in this video, but when you're operating off of incorrect data, you're operating off of incorrect data. And that's not too bad when you're at $100 a day scale. When you're at $5,000, $10,000 a day scale, that 30%, 25%, 40% you're off by, that starts to really kill your ads because your ad budgets and profits gets much tighter at scale. And the way you scale is by having those 30 to 50% margins, especially at scale. For example, if I'm spending $10K a day and I have 30% in waste on my account and that results in me only making $10K a day back, I can't scale. If I fix this 30%, 50% of waste and I'm making $13K a day back off of $10K, suddenly I can scale. So I can scale quite easily. And as you go and start buying and scaling up your ads, that waste right there is going to come and bite you because your profit margin goes down as you scale always. And so you need to keep that profit margin as high as you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And then again, the other thing I was talking about, you need to know the LTV. You need to know the back end for your customers. So for example, in this one funnel right here, it cost me about $150, $200 to get a phone call. And that's been gradually going up for a long time now. But I know if I track everything my customers buy over a period of time, back to the original ads, that I'm making $749 for every single person that books a call with us. So I'm just fine paying $200 per phone call. Almost 3.5xing my money cash every single time just for this one simple funnel. That's how you scale your ads, because if I was looking at the upfront value by week 1 or week 2, my LTV is $187, and that's really what the ad managers are going to be able to catch. They're not going to track this far out. They're just not. There's too many phone switches, there's too many device switches, there's too many IP switches, there's too many cookie clearings. It's not going to happen. And so my business would be dead in the water if I was going off these numbers right here. So track your stuff. Okay, trying to scale with 30, 50% waste in the account and then not knowing your LTV, it's just making it so you're playing at massive disadvantage because every other big business is doing this when they're scaling. In this example right here, I'm just using Hyros. I don't know how else you could do this, but whatever way you decide to do it, even if you don't want to use Hyros, like figure out some way to do it because it's incredibly important for scaling. Finally, you have to understand this thing as well. When you first launch an offer, you're going to have this marketplace, and there's going to be a segment of the marketplace that's just hungry. It's not huge, but maybe 25% of the marketplace just really wants to buy what you're selling. Because of this, when you first start up ads, it's going to be artificially high. Your ROI is going to be higher than it will normally be over time. And what's going to happen as you go deeper and deeper into this marketplace is you're going to start burning through people who have different layers of interest. And eventually you're getting into this big void right here of people that really need to be sold to and convinced. And so what's going to happen is when you first kick up your ads, even if you get to $1,000, $2,000 a day scale, you're going to see, okay, cool, I spend $1,000 a day, I make $5K back. And then after 3 months, you're going to say, whoa, I spend $1,000 a day and I only make $3K back. Then I spend $1K a day and I only make $1.5K back. What's happening? Is the offer dead? No. What's happening is you sold out to all the people that are super interested, and you're going to have to consistently improve your copy. You're going to have to consistently improve the opt-in rates in every little aspect of your funnel. And that's just normal. And so what you need to be thinking about when you have your ads is expect the ROI to always be falling. And when you need to be constantly looking at how can I improve the offer to convert higher? How can I improve the copy to be more convincing? What am I not understanding about the customers? How can I increase the opt-in rate of our webinar, of our sales call funnel, of our e-commerce business? How can I go and improve this by another 5%? Because you need to understand that when you're at 5K a day, what most people do is they sit back on their loins and just chill out. For example, when I was scaling an offer to $1 million per month, I got it to $300,000 a month very quickly, and then it started breaking even. Then I went and improved it more and got it to $1 million a month in sales. Then it did the same exact thing. Then it went backwards again, and I had to go and improve the offer again. And if I had just been this entire time just knowing that it was going to collapse, I could have really countered this off and stopped my ads from going into a place where the ROI got unacceptable. And so that's the last tip I wanted to give you right there. And that is why people's Facebook and YouTube ads die. That is why they die. They're selling to the wrong market segment, like I showed you before. They're trying to sell a B2B offer to a mass market, or they're trying to sell a mass market to a B2B audience. They're pricing the product wrong for the audiences. They're trying to sell a cheap product to a small audience. Never works. They're trying to sell a super expensive product to a mass audience. They're not positioning it right. That's the number one reason why people's ads fall apart. Next, people aren't tracking their LTV, or more importantly, they just aren't tracking even their upfront numbers. Okay, I've seen so many people with webinars. I've seen my webinar where if I go and track them in Hyros, then we're only catching 30-40% of sales. That results in so much waste in the account. And then finally, people are, again, always looking at their targeting instead of looking at long-term optimization of the funnel, which is something that's just always going to need to happen. And hopefully it's way more optimized than my chicken scratch test. So this is exactly what you should be looking at. Now guys, like always in this video, I was showing you inside my Hyros account. If you actually just want to track your ads, get a demo, want us to analyze your account and show you where all your waste is at, schedule a call with us below. We'll go through, we'll look at what you're doing with your ads, we'll look at how your tracking can be improved, we'll look at how much money you can save, and we'll just show you how much money you can save if there is potential for it to be saved. If there isn't potential for you to scale more with tracking, there isn't potential for you to save a ton of money, we'll just tell you that. Okay, because at Hyros, when people come to Hyros, there's a 90-day refund guarantee. So if people don't see dramatic tracking results and all the things I talked about in this video, they don't pay. So we're just straight up with you there. On top of that, if you're interested in getting more info on that funnel and ad consulting mastermind I talked about, there's a link below as well. You can go on there. I'll hop on a call with you. We'll talk about how you can improve your ads, what you're doing. And again, we'll just be straight and say, oh, this could be a huge gain for you in the business. And if you're interested in joining, you can. Or we'll just show you some really cool things on the call. That's it. Finally, what I really encourage you to do if you're watching this video because you're interested in ads, join the Hyros Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, type in Hyros. It should be one of the first things that shows up, the official Hyros forum. There is a qualification process. You need to be spending some significant ad spend in there. However, we have over $50 million a month in ad spend in there if you put all of our members together. And so it's pretty much the best ad form you could possibly be on online right now. So I would go check that out. That being said, subscribe to this channel because I release new videos with just crazy in-depth training like this every single week. And if you want to see those, well, you should be subscribed so you get notified. That's it. Check out the other videos there at the end of this video as well. I link some of my best ones as well for you. And I'll see you next time I post on this channel. This has been Alex Becker. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.